The functions f and g are defined as follows. F of x is equal to 2 plus x squared, and g of x is equal to 1 minus x. Calculate the value of g of negative 4. Now we know that g of x is equal to 1 minus x, and our goal is to determine the value of g of negative 4. And so what does that mean? That means that wherever you see x, you're going to put negative 4. And so x is here, so we put negative 4. And x is here, so we put negative 4. So g of negative 4 is equal to 1 minus 4. We know that a negative multiplied by a negative is a positive. So we have 1 plus 4, and 1 plus 4 is definitely 5. So g of a negative 4 is equal to 5. Next, we have to calculate the value of g of f of negative 4. And so we have, basically here, we have a function within a function. We have the function f inside of the function g. And so the first step we're going to do is we're going to figure out what is f of negative 4. We're going to figure out what that is. Then when we find that answer, we're going to take that and we're going to put it inside of the function. And we're going to take f of a negative 4 and put it inside of the function g. So what is f of a negative 4? Well, we know that f of x is equal to 2 plus x squared. So wherever we see x, we're going to put negative 4. And so x is here, so we put negative 4. X is here, so we put negative 4. So we have f of negative 4 is equal to 2 plus negative 4 squared, and negative 4 squared is negative 4 times negative 4, which is positive 16. So we have f of negative 4 is equal to 2 plus 16. Now what is 2 plus 16? 2 plus 16 is definitely 18. So f of negative 4 is equal to 18. Now that we know what f of a negative 4 is, we're going to take that answer and we're going to substitute it inside of the function g. And so what do we have? Well, we have that g of f of a negative 4 is equal to 1 minus f of negative 4. Now, how do we know that? We know that because g of x is equal to 1 minus x. But instead of putting x, we put f of negative 4. And so what is f of negative 4? Well, f of negative 4 is definitely 18. And so we have g of f of x. I'm sorry. So we have g of, here we have g of f of negative 4. That's going to be equal to 1 minus 18. And 1 minus 18 is negative 17. And so that means that this is equal to negative 17. So that means that g of f of a negative 4 is equal to negative 17. And that's the answer to this question. Next, we have to calculate the values of x for which f of x is equal to 11. Now, what is f of x? Well, f of x is equal to 2 plus x squared. So f of x is equal to 2 plus x squared. So what is 2 plus x squared? 2 plus x squared, we put that right here. So f of x is equal to 2 plus x squared, and we said that equal to 11. So what do we do here? Well, we're going to take 2 and send it over the equal sign. And so we have that x squared is equal to 11 minus 2. It was positive 2, but when we send it over, it becomes a negative 2. So x squared is equal to 11 minus 2, and 11 minus 2 is definitely 9. We have to take the square root of both sides. So when we take the square root of both sides, what end up happening is we cancel this root with this power. And so that means that x is going to be equal to the square root of 9. And what is the square root of 9? Well, the square root of 9 is going to be plus or minus 3. And so x is equal to plus or minus 3. And it makes sense because the square root of 9, if we notice carefully, if we say 3 times 3, positive 3 times 3, well, 3 times 3 is 9. But if we say negative 3 times negative 3, negative 3 times negative 3 is still 9. And so what does that mean? That means that x could be either positive 3 or x could be negative 3. And so we have two values for x. It can be positive 3 or negative 3. And that's the answer to this question.